Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about what is tuocha, or what is bingcha. Now, before we begin, I highly recommend you check out this entire playlist of the What Is playlist, especially episode 1 on what is tea, the strict definition of tea, and also I would check out vis-a-vis and in relation to this episode, what is pu'er tea and what is black tea. So, what is tuocha? I think I chose tuocha and bingcha, but really tuocha because tuocha is probably the most common place that you would see these things. And in short, what they are is compressed tea. Compressed tea can come in different forms, and I want to show you. Here's one. This is tuocha. Cha means tea in Chinese, so cha really means nothing. But tuocha, these are, the word tua means like bird's nest. So these are little, as I open this live, so to speak, you can see it's a little hole in it, looks like a bird's nest. And so that's what tuocha is. And bingcha are essentially what we call compressed tea cakes. So what these were historically, and this was how tea, or cha, was consumed in China prior to the Ming Dynasty. So the large majority of teas existent was in the form of these compressed cakes. And these compressed cakes weren't just used to consume tea, they were actually used as currency. Back in the day, they would eat them as well as drink them. And you don't want to know what they used to compress it back when they were trying to use it as currency. They would mix it with manure and flour and all these things to keep it compressed. So essentially, what compressed cakes are, they're normally found in 3 different types of tea. This is a green tuocha, so this is a green tea from China that's been compressed into like a little bird, right? Tua, bird nest. And so what happens is when you steep it, you throw this in to, I guess for the sake of Chinese tea, I'll go on here, and you throw it in there with the water, and eventually its leaves are going to break open and become full loose leaf teas. And going back to the episode, or the future episode, I should say, about how to maximize your tea drinking experience, one of them is looking at, feeling the texture of the tea, looking at the before and looking at the after, not just with tuocha or compressed cakes, but also with oolong and all the different teas that we have. But either way, so what do? They get these teas, and they're going to be typically in 3, like I mentioned. So the least likely one you're going to find is green tea. That is in the compressed cakes. The more common ones are going to be black tea from China. India wouldn't be doing this. This is a Chinese practice. Or pu'er teas, which are commonly grown in southern, or made or popularized in southern China or in Tibet. Those are the 2 most common places that you're going to see these tea cakes. And tea cakes are pretty popular. Like if you go to a tea store, like a high-end tea store, certainly you can get them online. I wouldn't recommend you get them online, but you can get them online. And they're going to come from different types of black teas, and they're going to have different price points. Some of the compressed cakes are pretty small, but most of them are about this big. And some of them can range from $30 to $100 to even way beyond that, depending on the quality of the tea and how long it's been around. See, the thing about compressed teas, especially in the pu'er tea, we talked about how pu'er tea is a lot like wine, and it's really the only tea that doesn't get bad eventually with time. All tea will eventually get bad, but pu'er tea, because it's fermented, doesn't get bad. In fact, it gets better with time, like wine. And so a great combination of these 2 things would be a pu'er tea, which you can find in tuocha. I didn't mention that, but you can get a pu'er tea that's in tuocha form. But more often than not, the pu'er teas you're going to find loose leaf, like the way we sell them, or you'll find them in compressed cakes, bricks, or in cakes. And so it's this perfect combination because pu'er doesn't get bad, it gets better with age, and so you can get these cakes and just have them forever. And just break off a little piece, throw it in water, and drink it. It's like a puzzle piece, but the reverse of a puzzle. So instead of adding things, you're just breaking off little pieces of it. I'm trying to think maybe like an advent calendar where every day you open and eat a piece of chocolate from it. But that's the cool thing about these compressed cakes, because as I talk about in this future episode about ways to maximize your tea drinking experience, there's just so much more than just drinking out of a cardboard container from a coffee shop. there's looking at it. It's all these little things, the accoutrements, like the different teacups and the smells and the texture. And I just think it's really cool. Like I remember when I learned about compressed tea, I was like, this is crazy. Because I mean, I knew about loose leaf tea, but I'm like, this tea, it could be like this for decades, if not longer. And you can just break off pieces. And I just thought, this is so cool. And I'm like, man, this is what makes tea kind of cool. Are these compressed cakes, these brick cakes. So in closing, you can get them in green, tuocha. You can get them in black, but more often they're going to be found in pu'er, and that's the one I would recommend that you get. Now, pu'er, we've talked about, is a very acquired taste tea, for lack of a better word. I like it, especially in cold weather time. There's something very musky and earthy and coffee-esque about it, and I would definitely recommend you consider looking at or getting one of these compressed cakes because they are amazing, or just know that they're in the zeitgeist. And as of recording this, we don't sell any compressed cakes yet, but who knows, in the future we might. So that's what a tuocha, bird's nest, or a bangcha is, which is more the compressed cakes. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you if you've ever had one of these or if you think they're really cool. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.